Hey Bat Freaks, and welcome back to Unmasked for the first video on the Silver Age of Batman, aka Bruce Wayne. But before we get started, I just want to remind anyone who's new here to check out our first 3 videos on Batman, covering his comic book origins and his Golden Age adventures that took place from 1939 to the beginning of 1956. So, starting in 1956, the Silver Age of Comics marked many changes for DC, including a few of DC's characters being remade. Most recognizably, The Flash, as the second incarnation of the hero, Barry Allen, replaced Golden Age Jay Garrick as the Scarlet Speedster. However, Batman didn't get this updated treatment. Well, at least not at first. See, with Russia launching the first artificial satellite, Sputnik, in 1957, the United States leaders saw this as a call to action within the scientific realm of space exploration. The so-called space race between the two superpowers began sparking imaginations of the people all over the world. And the possibilities of spaceships and aliens meant one thing for DC. Batman in space! Well, not always. In 1958, at least 2 stories involving aliens would grace the pages of Batman comics. The first, featuring a hoax, claiming that Batman was an alien. And the second would have the Dark Knight traveling to the planet Zur-Anah, where he would discover that while on this planet, he had the powers of Superman. How cool. And as we move into 1959, Batman and Robin became up against a new ice-themed villain, known as Mr. Zero. Now, while this character may seem unfamiliar, with a simple name change brought about in the 1966 Batman TV series, which we'll talk about a little later, the Mr. Zero introduced in Batman 121 soon became the much more recognizable villain, Mr. Freeze.
Wild.
And villains weren't the only thing that were new that year. In Detective Comics 267, Bill Finger and artist Sheldon Moldoff introduced the readers to what is probably the most annoying character in the Batman mythos, the powerful but impish Bat-mite.
Greetings, dynamic duo. I'm your biggest fan.
What is it?
Coming from another dimension, Bat-mite came to use his magical powers, including invisibility and the ability to alter 3-dimensional space, to help Batman and to show him his admiration. However, Bat-mite often proved to be more of an annoyance and a possible danger than a help. Still, there was no getting rid of the troublesome interdimensional traveler.
All right. Where are you, Bat-mite?
Ta-da!
Bat-mite, I thought we told you to stay in your own world and out of our hair.
Moving into the 1960s, the popular anthology title, The Brave and the Bold, revealed the new superhero team of the Justice League of America in issue 28. The team consisting of Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, and cameos from DC's first stringers, Batman and Superman, worked together to defeat the starfish-like alien, Starro the Conqueror. And the team-up was so popular that by the end of the year, the Justice League of America would have their own comic. Yet, for the most part, Batman would remain on the sidelines of the Justice League during the early adventures, but would eventually take his place along with Superman and Wonder Woman as leaders of the Justice League. In 1961, another character was added to the ever-growing Bat family, this time with the first Batgirl. However, contrary to popular belief, the first Batgirl was not Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara, but Kathy Kane's niece, Betty Kane. So this blonde version of Batgirl was created by Bill Finger and artist Sheldon Moldoff, and was shown to be a quick-witted teenager with, Nancy Drew-like detective skills. So the team of Finger and Moldoff continued on their streak of creativity by recreating the villain Clayface. However, instead of it being makeup artist and ex-actor Basil Carlo, the role of Clayface was taken by the treasure hunter Matt Hagen. And in what is probably the worst spa experience ever, Hagen immersed himself in a cave's radioactive pool of protoplasm, which, while super gross, gave him the ability to shapeshift into any form he could imagine. However, these powers were just temporary, as Hagen would have to revisit the pool every 48 hours, that is, to recharge this ability. Luckily, Batman and Robin were able to exploit this weakness and put him behind bars. In 1962, an industry-wide decision to up the cost from comics from 10 cents to 12 cents an issue caused a decrease in sales for anthology titles such as Strange Adventures and Girls' Romances. But luckily, DC's superhero titles were mostly unaffected. Overall, the 1960s were a time of huge changes. In 1963, the Civil Rights Movement found one of its strongest voices in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., yet also lost a valuable ally in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, signaling the end of a more innocent age. Big changes were also part of the landscape for DC Comics, as in the same year, in issues 21 and 22 of the Justice League of America, the first meeting between the Silver Age Justice League and the Justice Society of the Golden Age cemented the concept of the multiverse within the two-part Crisis on Earth 1 and Crisis on Earth 2 saga. So these stories would pave the way for a new, reinvented Batman, who would be the inhabitant of Earth 1, while all previous Batman adventures and characters of the last few years, along with the Golden Age, would belong to Earth 2. This new Batman was a combined effort of editor Julius Schwartz, writer John Broome, and artist Carmine Infantino, and would make his debut in 1964 in issue 327 of Detective Comics, 25 years and precisely 300 issues after Batman made his first appearance. And while the man behind the mask remained Bruce Wayne, both Batman's costume and Batmobile underwent a much-needed facelift. Yet, Batman's look wasn't the only thing that changed. In order to boost the somewhat flagging sales, the Batman editors dropped the sci-fi and time travel-based stories, along with the characters Batwoman, Batgirl, Ace the Bat-Hound, and Bat-mite, that were part of the Earth 2/Golden Age, and basically returned him to his detective roots. So, this being said, it should be noted that the writers of Batman titles often ignore the distinction between the old and new Batman, and would occasionally reference stories from the Golden Age, even if they were dealing with the Silver Age Batman. So, what were the adventures like of this new remodeled Batman? Well, you'll just have to stay tuned for our next video, where not only will we cover this new Batman of Earth 1, but Batman's first foray into television, cartoons, and even manga. There's so much cool stuff to talk about, so be sure to come back for more on your favorite billionaire in a bat costume.